upbringing that I'm able to sit here now and take part in this Majalis. So I thank you all. Over the past few days, my lectures have been around Tarbiyat al-Farzandan, the upbringing of children in the modern world today. Our Prophet has a hadith and he says, "Usikum bish-shabab khayra fa-innahum uraqqa afida." This means that concentrate and put your efforts on the youth, for surely their hearts are soft and delicate and warm. Now, I've spoken about how stresses can affect children, and not only children, but adults of any age up until old people, 70, 80, 90, and how a connection has to exist for them to be physically fit. I said that in order to gain this connection with the youth, in order to connect with the youth and have them listen to us and have them follow us, we have to be able to win their hearts. Because the youth will only listen to those who they feel comfortable with and who they trust and whom they love. But in order for them to love you and me, we have to first show them some love. So many times, we adults, we hear it. The adults walk in and we turn to our children and say, "Salam bede, zeshte." We tell the youth to give salam to the adults. Now, in the Prophet's time, the Prophet would do it the other way around. When walking to the mosque, this is the Prophet of Islam, this isn't anyone, this isn't me. The Prophet of Islam, with all his maqam, he would give salam first to the children. And they would be shocked by this. Who's this man that he's giving salam to us? He would win their hearts like this. Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he would go to the houses of the orphans and help the ladies cook the food or look after the children, he would get on his hands and knees and pretend to be a sheep. Ba, ba. Is this the lowering of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam? No. He was hiring himself by doing this. He was showing me and you how we should be with the children so that they find that connection with us and they follow us, they want to be like us. Now, there is a very big change in our society. A lot of us have been born and bred in other countries, Iran, Iraq, so on and so forth. We haven't lived in this country or been brought up in this country to realize what's facing us. So in order to be able to bring up our children in today's society, in this country, we have to adapt our ways. We have to work in a systematic manner in order to attack all the different attacks that are coming. We can be able to defend and attack back. And I'll show you how. Now, Dr. David Suzuki in Canada, he's one of the highest psychologists and physicians. He works with the youth, he gives lectures and so on. He says that when there is a change in technology, when a new technology comes about, it takes 200 years for the people to adapt to that technology. Well, we don't have 200 years to wait for our youth to adapt and then for their 7th generation to then realize, oh, this is how we should be using this thing. Mobile phones came around, internet came around, computers came around, to the point that all these things are free in our children's hands and we don't know how to control it. No wonder they're going astray. 3 ways a child connects to an adult. The first way used to be through food. So when a child was hungry, they come to the parent for food. The mother would cook something or make something and then feed the child or the father. Today's world, what do we see? The child's hungry, goes to the fridge, takes out whatever he wants, puts it in the microwave. Frozen meals, fast food from outside. Now, Ahmadi has already spoken about fast food. Now, apart from the cancerous effects and whether it's halal or not, just because it writes it's halal, these all are part. The fact that the child no longer needs the mother or father for food is a big thing. The child becomes self-sufficient at the age of 6, 7, and it thinks, no, I don't need my parents. Whereas in the olden days, they would need to go to their parents for food. And how would they eat this food? Each one in their own room? Or round the table together? Where they would catch up on what happened during the day. Today this happened, today that happened, well done, so on and so forth. Eating the food is not just to put it in your mouth and swallow it. There was a man not long ago, a scientist, who won the Nobel Prize for coming up with a statement that all diseases, the root of it, the cause root, is from the stomach. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, 1,400 years ago, said that all diseases come from the stomach. He's the one who said this. Look at the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We shouldn't think that these things are history, old things. No, the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam are modern thinking. We are behind. They say that when you eat food with certain stresses, you're not comfortable, you're not rahat, this food agitates the acids in your stomach. And you end up digesting it and ruining your body even further. The second way that a child would attach to the adults is through companionship. So when they were bored at home, they never used to be able to go to their friends or chat to their friends on the mobile phone. They'd go to their parents, come play a game with me, let's sit down, let's talk, and so on and so forth. Today, we see that the mobile phones, the internet, computers are so wide and vast in our society that every child has a mobile phone, every child has Facebook, MSN, email. There's no need to come to the parent anymore. Why should I go and talk to my parents? They're old, they don't know anything. Let me go and speak to my friends. They're exciting, they have something good to say. On this point, let me talk about the Kaiser Family Association. This Kaiser Family Foundation in Canada, in Southern California, they carry out surveys in 30 countries worldwide. 30 countries. And these are the stats that they've come out with. That in today's world, between the age of 12 and 24, youths between the age of 12 and 24, there is 100% connectivity. Which means that there's not one youth in those 30 countries that doesn't connect to the internet. Now you know what's on the internet. Yes, the internet has good uses, but it also has bad uses. Another stat for you. Between 8 and 18-year-olds, the average they spend accessing technology, whether through a mobile phone or through TV or through a computer, is 10 hours a day. That's almost half the day. They sleep 8 hours. They're on accessing technology 10 hours. Where's the rest? Sometimes you find they're watching TV and eating something. Whether that food now is halal or haram, God knows. But what they're seeing is affecting their psychology, their brain. It's pulling them apart from their parents. And another stat is that 74% of youth now connect to social networks through their mobile. So these mobiles have become so smart. In fact, they are not so smart. They're making our children not so smart by them accessing their email, their networking and so on. Now networking, I'm not saying is a bad thing, but we have to have it under control. Who are they talking to? Who's that person on the other side? What's that person telling them to do and not do? We have to be aware of these things. And the third way that they connect to their parents is information. So previously, when a child wants to know something or heard something, they wanted to find out more about it, they'd go to their parents at home. Dad, I heard this at school, what does it mean? What does that mean, Mum? So this is important. They would be our source of information. But in today's world, the source of information is Google. And we know what that means. That means that now, instead of us as parents being able to control the content with which we give our children, the context in which we give them that content, and the timing of giving them that is very important, but we've lost it. Before, I'll say it very closed ways, so that people who need to understand will understand, that previously people would be told about certain things the night before a wedding. Now, people at the age of 6 years old are being taught these things in school. Their brains are being unlocked to these things. No wonder they turn out to have so many different problems in society nowadays. No wonder their brains are poisoned by the time they're 15, 16 years old. Because that timing is not right. It's like telling a child, come and drive this car. We're modern now, drive the car. The child will crash and kill himself. This is what we're doing. We're giving them all this information. Dr. Gordon Neufeld says that the problem our brains have, we're not like computers that we can crunch information up and process it. Our brains are different. We're cleverer than computers, but we're different. When we're given a whole lot of information, we zone out. In other words, we switch off. That's why a lot of children, they switch off. And we think the child is lazy. No, you're giving the child too much information. They can't process it. The importance here is not how much information you give, it's how the child then processes that information and uses it and adapts to it. That's why the Prophet says that 1 hour of thinking is equivalent to 70 years of worship. This is the problem we're facing. Now, a study in America shows that the best, the optimal conditions or environment for children to grow up, the optimal parenting, and if anyone can guess this, I'll be very surprised, but I'll tell you, it's not America, England, Sweden, Germany, wherever. No. They say that the optimal parenting is found in the hunter-gatherer tribes. In the African jungles and deserts, these people that don't wear clothes, they wear so little and they hunt deers and so on. We look at them and we say, these people are behind. We're modern. That's wrong. They've come and studied and said that these children that grow up in these tribes turn out to be the best children in terms of discipline, in terms of maturity. They don't mature at 20, 25 years old as scientists today say the maturity happens. They mature at 15, 14, like the olden days. Why? Because from a young age, the mother ties the child to the mother, and everywhere she goes, the child is with the mother. Once the child starts to walk, it's always surrounded by its aunts, uncles, friends, elders of the community, not with the children to go and cause mischief. This is a very big thing to learn. That these people who live in the jungles, we look at them and say, Arab Mundan, Dehatian. These people, we're the ones that are Dehatian, Arab Mundan. These children grow up so disciplined, under the care of other adults. If their parents aren't there, they're under the care of other adults, not in the care of other children. As we say, peer pressure, in one of my previous lectures, I said peer pressure is a wrong way of thinking. It's a wrong term. There's no such thing as peer pressure. There's only such a thing called parent neglectance. That when the parent's position is absent in the child's heart, the heart of the child wants to connect. Who does it connect to? Its peers. Why? Because its peers lend an ear to the child. Its peers say hello to the child. Its peers comfort the child. These are very big points, but due to time, I'm restricted. I can't continue so much. But this is something very important that we're not understanding. And as we miss this, it means that the future of Islam is in danger. The future of Islam is in danger. These children will be the ones carrying the flags of Islam in the future to come. The Prophet who says, "Usikum bishababi khayra," he's not saying it for no reason. Let us turn our efforts to our children. Before I finish, I just want to give a connection to the point that I made about the elders of the community. A lot of us have heard Sili Rahim, to go and visit those who are close to your family and so on. But why? We often hear there are so many hadith that the Prophet says, the Imams say that when you go for Sili Rahim, you go and you visit those of your family and so on, that Allah increases your life. Now our children, when we say something, what rubbish is this? How can this even happen? Allah's just going to magically create a longer life for you just because you go and visit someone? But when we tie this in to all my previous speeches about stress and about parenting, this lecture today, you realize that actually the children who go and they make those connections, if they don't have the connection with their parent, at least they can have the connection with their aunt, with their uncle, with so on and so forth. This is important because sometimes as parents, we may fail to make that connection. And it's important that we have another adult making that connection with our children, so they keep them on the path. Tomorrow's lecture, inshallah, will be only question and answer session. Already some people have given their questions in and I'm preparing the answers for them. Anybody who has any question regarding anything I've said in the last couple of days, please write your question. Doesn't have to have your name on the end, anonymous if you like, and hand this to either Khanum Ahmadi or Aghay Ahmadi, and they'll pass it on to myself. And inshallah, tomorrow I'll be able to answer these questions. Okay? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.